The wheels are now in motion at the White House for the billion-dollar re-election effort. That's what they're planning on spending. President Obama's team dividing itself in half, focusing less on current politics and more on getting him back in the White House in 2012. But the big question is, can both be done at the same time? For a fair and balanced debate, Karen Hanretty, former NRCC Communications Director, and Don Goldberg, former Special Assistant to President Clinton. And welcome to both of you.
Thanks, Jamie.
Karen, just 2 weeks ago, the president said we can focus on 2012 and the re-election bid in 2012. Then a shuffling of advisors this week out of the White House, some to Chicago. What do you read into this?
Well, what I read into this is that the president is going to use the White House to make a move, certainly to the center, give the impression that this is a White House much more interested in the business community than they've been over the past 2 years, that's focused singularly on fixing the economy, while I assume that, the campaign side is going to have to juggle with kind of the nefarious problem of a left-wing base that is not entirely happy with the president, that actually thinks he's not liberal enough and has maybe sold him out or been selling them out. So I think that what we're seeing is just a juggling act taking place right now.
Don, how fine a tightrope does the president or any president walk, particularly in this economy, in terms of looking like the business at hand is what is affecting the American people and must be done in Washington, versus their own interest in maintaining their position, and not to mention all the Democratic candidates that want to sweep in with the president in 2012?
Right, and it's a great question, and I think it's great that they're gearing up for the campaign, because it's going to be a fantastic, really difficult battle for this White House to get reelected. I think it'll be great to watch. On the one hand, I'm sort of in favor of them moving the operations out of Washington, because I spent a year cleaning up after the Clinton 1996 re-election campaign, where campaign finance issues and abuses were pretty bad, because they were running a lot of stuff out of Washington and it crossed that line in the White House. On the other hand, I think whenever you have to run policy decisions through the filter of your political campaign that's in Chicago, it's going to naturally create issues for the policy people in the White House who are trying to do, good things for the American people, having to, really listen to the policy people, the political people, and I think it will naturally create tensions, which will be difficult to deal with.
Karen, the part of the story that catches a lot of people's attention is the billion-dollar effort to maintain the White House. That's a lot of money in this economy when so many people are suffering. Is it appropriate, though?
I think that what they're doing, and Dawn and I work together with a lot of clients, and one thing we tell people is hang a lantern on your problem. And I think they're getting out there early, putting this number out there so that it's not a big news item in the middle of the campaign when things are getting hot and heated. And it's a tremendous amount of money. It's a tremendous amount of money for Democrats who, for the most part, believe that campaigns should be publicly funded, to be out there raising this kind of money. And what it will do is every dollar he raises is going to be under a microscope. How much is he taking from the business community? How much is he taking from different interests like labor and environmental interests? And how is that affecting policy? It's going to be very difficult for him for the next 2 years.
You've said that. And Don, quickly before we go, you said that too. Why do you think there's such a challenge ahead for 2012?
Well, I think the country's so divided. I think that, as Karen said, the base is not necessarily right behind him. He's got to move to the center to get the independents. Depending on who the Republican candidate is, it's going to be a great battle, a great fight. And for those of us who enjoy this stuff, it'll be great to watch. But I do think it's going to make it more difficult for him to lead as a president over the next 2 years.
All right. Well, fair and balanced, there are those who are very much in support of the efforts, and we'll see in the speech much more. Great to see both of you. Thanks for joining us this Sunday morning.
Jamie. Thanks, Karen.
Jamie.